President Trump did something for the very first time I've never seen another president do ever. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof replacement or repair, Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing is your guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. All right. President Trump had a cabinet meeting that ended a little while ago, and it just blew my mind. In fact, this is the first cabinet meeting that any president has ever had on television. And I know a lot of you may say, well, wait a minute, I've seen this many times. Even President Trump, they had that first cabinet meeting, the cameras are there. Not like this. What usually happens, what has happened in every cabinet meeting with every president prior to President Trump's cabinet meeting today is they bring in the cabinet into the room, the press are there, and they wave and do a photo op, and they leave. There might be a couple of words that are said, but that's it. President Trump actually conducted the cabinet meeting live on television. It was a lot like those days in the board meeting on The Apprentice, right? It was a similar thing, just a little bigger desk and much more importance involving everything. But he went through every single member of the cabinet, pretty much, and they reported on what they're doing, what they've done, what they're working on, and what they will do. And they were reporting directly to the president. Never seen anything like this. It is, without question, the most transparent administration in the history of the American presidency. We've never seen anything like this. And, you know, a lot of people, like Richie the bus driver called me today, I'm impatient. You know, people are impatient. They want to see action. Here's the thing. They're doing tons of things. Each member of the cabinet, including Pam Bondi, they're just not doing it on television. They have a limited time, right? President Trump only has this last term, his second non-consecutive term. So he has 4 years, but they're really moving at a pace as if they only have 2 years, because what happens in the midterms is unknown. I mean, we hope to keep the Congress and expand, but historically, that's not what happens, right? The party in power typically loses seats in the midterms, and I'm not assuming that, but it's one of those things you can see that President Trump is doing. It's hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And so they're doing everything they possibly can do in the first 2 years at warp speed. I mean, you know, this is like trans warp speed. If you know your Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock Excelsior, right? This is trans warp, not just warp speed. And I was blown away by each and every member of the cabinet. I'm going to play some of the audio from it. And, you know, I'll tell you something that I don't know why it's been this way. I've seen this happen repeatedly with the second term. Maybe it has always been this way, but we didn't know it. What you see on television has been on delay. What I mean by that is you can see what happens at these events in the White House on X or on YouTube live as they're happening. But television is behind. In fact, Fox News, they carry the cabinet meeting and they have this little screen at they had this little graphic at the top of the screen that said moments ago. It wasn't moments ago. Fox News aired the cabinet meeting like 45 minutes after. And I've seen this happen with a lot of things. So I don't know why the television is carrying things 45 minutes to an hour late, because you can watch them live online, the White House, Twitter, YouTube and things. So are they doing that because the television, they want to have the edit authority? They don't want to necessarily show you everything? I don't know. If anybody has any theories on this, and it's not just this cabinet meeting today, it's been on everything. So I was watching it online, and and then all of a sudden it's on television like it's just happening in breaking news. And maybe the White House is doing that to make the mainstream television media less relevant. Like they don't even have the news. They've already been scooped before they carry it. I don't know. Or is this something that the media are doing on their own to have editing powers. Let me know what you think in the comments about that. And if you do know why this is happening, let me know, because I'm very curious. But let me just go through some of the things that happened in the meeting today. This is Secretary Burgum, and well, let me just play it. And this just blew me away.
Mr. President, there was a federal consulting group, which was a group inside of Interior, but it was managing contracts from many different agencies that flowed through here. One of those contracts was to do surveys of individuals, $830 million for surveys. And so part of the question was, hey, could we actually see the surveys? And the surveys came back, and a survey was like 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with 10 questions that anyone's child in junior high could have put together, or AI could have done for free. $830 million. So that's one that we've stopped, and that contract was going out after you were inaugurated, sir. So it was jumping.
It's a fraud.
Yeah,
it's a fraud.
Yeah, fraud. I mean, over 800 billion. So my goodness, or over 800 million, almost $1 billion for some survey that never happened. And that document that they sent to Burgum, either they did it on the fly on this piece of paper, or they had done it in the past just so they could show they did something if they had to. Just complete fraud. And, with all this talk on the left about, how are you going to pay for these tax cuts? How are we going to run the country on tariffs? Don't you see how much is just complete fraud? Of course the government can be paid with import taxes and maintained with import taxes, and probably still have a surplus because so much money is being stolen and wasted. Some of it's fraud, some of it's waste. I mean, this is textbook fraud, what happens with these Interior Department surveys. And this is the way the government's been running for all of our lives. There's not been a time in our lives that the government hasn't been running this way. It's why all the politicians are rich. And all these people that are speaking against Elon and protesting against Elon and Doge, these are the things that Doge is finding out and inspiring, because these cabinet secretaries are inspired to look inside their own department. Some of it Doge is bringing to their attention. Okay, we found these things. But a lot of the cabinet secretaries are looking in even more detail on their own and finding things like that. Listen to this one.
Let me just add to that, and thank you. We just had a wonderful cabinet meeting, all aligned on certainly the effort to realign the government. But even at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco. A similar contract we canceled in New York, again, educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality.
I mean, what? By the way, this is Rollins. Let me rewind that. I mean, that's even hard to imagine people putting those words together.
$1,000 contract
Wait, let me rewind. How much is this contract?
Realign the government. But even at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for
what? Food justice?
Food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco.
Oh my God! How many farmers are there in San Francisco? In San Francisco, how many farmers are there? Inside the city, right? So none. So of those farmers, how many of them are gay and transgender? None. Another complete fraud.
$100,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco. A similar contract we canceled in New York, again, educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality. I'm not even sure what that means, but apparently the last administration wanted to put our taxpayer dollars towards that. We canceled a $600,000 contract out of Louisiana that was studying the menstrual cycles of transgender men.
What? What?
Taxpayer dollars towards that. We canceled a $600,000 contract out of Louisiana that was studying the menstrual cycles of transgender men, a $600,000 contract. We canceled another contract out of a university in the middle of the country that focused on getting more diversity, equity, and inclusion into our pest management industry. Again,
diversity, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to killing bugs.
These are nonsensical. It makes zero sense to use taxpayer dollars to fund these. I know these are just a few examples of the hundreds and hundreds that we have found. Yeah,
it's fraud, and it's establishing a pattern. And it blows my mind that, I understand why the government people in the media are freaked out over this, because this is their money, right? Trump is stopping their money in their mind, right? This is where they've been getting rich and stealing from. So I understand that there's a self-interest to keep the corruption going from those inside of government and their media allies. But the rank and file liberal Democrats around this country, like these lunatics protesting in front of all these Tesla dealerships around America, those people probably don't even know about this, because this is not carried on CNN or MSNBC or any of the other mainstream media. I know Fox carried it. I know they're mainstream media, but they're an exception. But even if they did know about these things, it wouldn't change their opinions at all. They would still want these things. They would still want Doge stopped, because they're in a knee-jerk habit to oppose any and everything that any Republican does, especially Donald Trump. Now, this next one, this is the EPA, and they talk about the Stacey Abrams money. Remember, Stacey Abrams has this NGO, a non-government organization, that was given $2 billion. That's with a B, $2 billion to Stacey Abrams Group. Remember, that came out a couple weeks ago. Here's EPA talking about it in the cabinet meeting today.
EPA has now canceled over $22 billion worth of contracts, $2 billion going to this NGO that Stacey Abrams was tied to. They received only $100 in 2023. And then the Biden administration gave them $2 billion. The director of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund saw his former employer get $5 billion. So $20 billion went to just 8 NGOs, and they're all pass-throughs. And then they were giving it to other entities. Many of them were pass-throughs. And what you have is all these extra middlemen. They're taking their cut, and the taxpayer ends up getting screwed. Right. They're losing out on all this hard-earned money. They can't afford to have the federal government waste. The partnership with Doge and Elon Musk has been incredible at EPA. Their team is very talented. We wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And of course, this mandate from President Trump to make sure that we identify every last penny, whether we're saving $50,000, $5 million, or $22 billion. We will not rest until every last penny is saved. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to do this for the American public.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that, so I wonder if Stacey Abrams is nervous at hearing that. You really got to wonder, because people aren't supposed to be talking about that $2 billion. Okay? They're not supposed to be talking about it. But now not only are they talking about it, everybody knows about it. And a lot of people have gotten their money already. And you hear what Zeldin's talking about. They have documented the payoffs down the line to these different people through Stacey Abrams' NGO. So you don't think Pam Bondi and her people are looking at it? Absolutely they are. I would think she's in a complete panic. Now, there's a whole bunch more. Let me get to this next clip. Are you confused by food labels? Wondering if organic is really better? Find the answers to those questions and more in the new book from author Evgeny Trufkin, The Anti-Factory Farm Shopping Guide, available on Amazon. Filled with fun illustrations as well as easy-to-follow insights, The Anti-Factory Farm Shopping Guide breaks down factory farm versus organic food, shares the truth about pesticides and what labels really mean. Plus, there's free video lessons that help you take action fast. You'll learn much more, too, like the differences between caged, cage-free, free-range, and pasture-raised meats and eggs. Learn to easily identify genetically modified foods, the myth about safe pesticides, why seeing vegetarian feed on a label is actually a bad thing, even if it's organic, and much, much more. Start eating healthier, shopping smarter, and avoid food industry tricks, and order your copy of The Anti-Factory Farm Shopping Guide from author Evgeny Trufkin on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. You followed all the rules. You did everything right, too, and you have success. You made it. So why does something still feel like it's missing? That quiet whisper of what now? It's not just a thought. It's a signal. It's a wake-up call. From global strategist and author Sharif Labib comes the must-read and life-changing book, Paradigms Unlocked, A Journey to Clarity, Purpose, and Fulfillment. Available on Amazon. Paradigms Unlocked is a blueprint for your transformation. With this book, you'll discover the hidden beliefs shaping your life and learn how to break through the barriers, rewire your mindset, and create a future filled with clarity and purpose. The author has spent over 25 years guiding Fortune 500 companies and high achievers, uncovering the hidden forces that dictate success and fulfillment, helping leaders, organizations, and individuals just like you break through mental barriers, redefine success, and take control of their future. And he's sharing his knowledge with you in Paradigms Unlocked. You know there's more for you, more success, more meaning, more fulfillment. But nothing changes unless you do. Break free, take control, and unlock your true potential with Paradigms Unlocked, A Journey to Clarity, Purpose, and Fulfillment from author Sharif Labib. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Take control of your future right now with Paradigms Unlocked on Amazon.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lynn from Boynton. I just received my 7th and 8th set of Mike Lindell sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves it. Oh, my God. And especially with the cold days and nights we've been having the last few months in Florida. I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I have the flannels, too. You're like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So perfect. The guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them, I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're probably going to be on the next My Pillow commercial, just so you know, okay?
Okay.
Okay, just to let you know.
You heard Lynn from Boynton. She loves her My Pillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code KANE, KANE, at checkout at mypillow.com. This is Marco Rubio. And, you know, I know right now, J.D. Vance is first in line to be our second MAGA president. No question. Okay. But Marco Rubio's right there. And they, you know, this is there's going to be some competition. I don't know. Do you see Marco Rubio being number 2 to J.D.? J.D.'s the vice president. So, you know, it's expected for him to get it. Nothing's a sure thing, but he's certainly not going to be running for vice president again with Marco Rubio. So how do you think this will play? Marco Rubio is amazing, and he was not always amazing. He's come a long way in the last 10 years since that first campaign, hasn't he? And he's very impressive. Listen, this is Marco Rubio. He was, of course, sitting next to the president as the Secretary of State today.
Yeah, Mr. President, first of all, I think the American people should be proud that we have a president that's promoting peace and the end of conflict on this planet. This is a war that's gone on for 3 years, as you pointed out, that, as you rightly pointed out, would have never happened had you been president, but now it's here, and it needs to be brought to an end. There is no military solution to this war. It has to end through negotiation. And there's only one leader in the world that's capable of bringing the 2 sides to a table, and that's our president, the President of the United States, President Trump. And that's what he's done. And so today, even as we speak, we have teams on the ground in Saudi Arabia meeting with the respective sides in the hopes of making progress towards this outcome that we all want to see. And I think that the country owes you a great debt of gratitude, and the world, really, because, I mean, you're the only leader in the planet that can bring the 2 sides together to bring an end to this conflict. And that's what you've done. And you've done it despite, you know, impediments from other countries and others who maybe have different opinions about how this should go. But ultimately, I think that the only chance we have for peace is through the president's leadership, and you've shown that, and we hope it'll bear fruit. And today will hopefully be one step more in that direction.
Wow. I mean, is this not like the most competent power cabinet we've ever had? I have never seen competence like this from any cabinet, from any Republican. I mean, this is amazing. And there's no way the American people are not impressed by this, the ones who see it. So maybe that is why the media, you know, what would happen if, see, this is going to be the new thing, the televised live cabinet meeting. with the president and his cabinet. What do you think would happen if he did these in prime time? Like if he did this at 7 or 8 o'clock at night? Would they preempt on Fox News Hannity and Laura and Jesse and all that or not? You know, it's important for people to see this live, not just cut up and sound bites, because what the things that the cabinet are doing and President Trump are doing are so big, so positive. These are things that no one could oppose. Who could oppose ending thievery of the national treasury? Who could oppose ending a bloody war in Europe? I mean, you really can't. And what the media want to do is feed to the public what they want people to think is going on, not let people see the news. You know, I talk about a lot how I studied history in college, and when we would do a research paper, we had to use primary sources. Primary sources are from the time. Like I give you an example. If I were doing a research paper on the Second World War, I could not use Stephen A. Ambrose's Band of Brothers. That's not a primary source. That was written by somebody who wasn't there after the war. But I could use Omar Bradley released a book about General Patton, and it was just a printing of Patton's diary. I could use General Patton's diary. That's a primary source because he was there and it was written at the time. I could even use newspaper articles from the New York Times that were written at the time of the war, but I couldn't use an article that was written after. That's a primary source. The primary source is watching this cabinet meeting, like I'm playing you clips of it now, not listening to some talking heads gripe about it and argue amongst themselves about what they're doing at 8 o'clock at night. Does that make sense? Yeah, and if President Trump held these at night and the media wouldn't cut away, that's fine. Live stream them on every platform there is, because people really need to see this, not a characterization of what is happening. Okay, here's another one. This is Collins talking about the eggs.
I think the first thing that's really remarkable to note is that the prices of eggs under the 4 years of Joe Biden increased 237%.
Wow.
237% in those 4 years, and yet it wasn't covered in the press at all. No one talked about the price of eggs in the summer of last year, for example, from the media. So, of course, the president wins and he is inaugurated, and the next day everyone is yelping about why the price of eggs are so high.
That's right.
So it was certainly one of many, many issues we took on under the 4 years of Joe Biden. We had the cost of input go up 30% for all of our agriculture products. At the same time, the trade deficit increased $49 billion. So it was zero under the first Trump administration, and then under Joe Biden, we sold $49 billion less of our ag products around the world. Then you combine that with the avian bird flu, and I know I've talked to a lot of you in the press on this over the last 3 or 4 weeks. But listen, here's the deal. The president, under his vision and support, we released about a month ago a very significant plan on how to bring the price of eggs down. It included 5 prongs. I won't go into it now because I don't want to bore everyone. But since that day, since we released that plan regarding biosecurity, repopulation, importing eggs, research, and then deregulating, taking those onerous rules off of our farmers, our egg-laying farmers. Since that time, the price of eggs, the wholesale price of eggs, has come down 53%.
Wow.
So we're going to keep working on it. Listen, it's not something you solve overnight. Avian bird flu and some of the other animal diseases, we're working across the government, several partners out in the cabinet on that, especially my friend Secretary Kennedy over at HHS. But we have a long-term solution, but at least for now, in the short term, thanks to President Trump and so many that have worked so hard, the price of eggs are coming down, as well as the price of groceries. So thank you, sir, for the opportunity to lead on that.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Collins, eggs under Biden's 4 years up 237%. Trump has already, in 8 weeks, brought them down 53%. That's a big decrease. That's really amazing. And of course, he's not going to get credit for that because this is not going to make it into the narrative. Whew. I mean, how is there a single thing that the cabinet's doing that you could oppose? Not if you're a rational person. I mean, the things that they are advocating to stop and against on the left are just insanely bad. I mean, why would you be opposed to any of this? Bringing down the price of eggs, ending a war, finding almost $1 billion that someone was paid for some survey by the Interior Department that they didn't do, right? You know, how could you be opposed to any of this? You can't. You can't. All right, here's another clip.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a conversation on Friday. Again.
Oh, by the way, this is Sean Duffy, Transportation Secretary. He had a little flub. He made a little mistake there in the beginning, but that's okay. He recovered.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a conversation on Friday. Again, our air traffic control system, as we talked about maybe privately or I don't know publicly with all of you, but we have decades of ideas and billions of dollars, and no progress is ever made on any of these initiatives. Air traffic control is the same thing. And so we're having a conversation about building a state-of-the-art, brand new, best technology, envy of the world air traffic control system. And what's interesting from the Doge team is they'll look and say, well, what is the problem? Why hasn't this been built? This is about safety. This is about people's lives. All of you fly. Your family flies. Why hasn't it been done? And the problem is in government, it takes way too long. So technology changes and money changes and administrations change. We have to do this fast, which is why we need the partnership from the Congress to give us the money up front. The best ideas and the best technology available in the world, we're going to build in the system. I think, Mr. President, we can do it in 3 years. I think Trump Tower was built in 3 or 3.5 years. I think we could match the Trump Tower time frame. 2 years. Okay.
Good luck.
Maybe not that good, but about 3 years. And again, we have to choreograph because again, our towers are operational, keeping planes in the air. So we got to choreograph this, but we can do it in short order.
Okay, now what a change from the days of Mayor Pete, who was talking about racist bridge height, right? Remember all that stupidity? And here you have Sean Duffy, who is talking about updating our air traffic control system. We've had all these crashes and accidents. And the reason we're having it's a couple. One, the system's dated. That's what he's talking about. And also DEI. There's been a lot of coverage on that lately. So and we found out there was a preliminary report from the NTSB on that Delta crash in Toronto a few weeks back. And they said that the female co-pilot was at the helm and she made some mistakes and crashed the plane. Luckily, it was close to the ground when she crashed it. It wasn't way up. But the air traffic control system, that's frightening to me. You know, I don't fly that much, you guys. I make fun of me, some people. I don't fly without having a few drinks. And yeah, I mean, look at how dangerous it is. But sometimes you got to fly. I mean, who has time to drive to the places we got to drive to? But think about this. Updating our air traffic control system isn't, I saw someone say, I can't remember, it was somebody on Newsmax, Chris Salcedo. This was Chris Salcedo on Newsmax said this. I heard him say this. I always like to give credit. And what Chris Salcedo said was this. He says, name another country that taxes its citizens and then sends the money around the world to other countries. Exactly. You can't think of any, can you? No, it's just us. And for whatever reason, it's easier for these Washington insiders to steal money from the international spending, I guess. I don't know why, but it seems to be the way that it is. And they just ignore our country. And that's why we have some out-of-date air traffic control system that's dangerous. And you would have thought after 9/11 we'd have the most updated system available, but we don't. And our last transportation secretary, he didn't do anything, did he? No, he just talked about DEI and diversity and racist bridges. And remember, he rode the bicycle a block to the White House, from the big SUV. And now we've got real competent people, the most competent cabinet in history. And they had their meeting live. And each of them, you notice how every member of the cabinet had something brilliant to report. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. And, those of you that are Patreon supporters, your support helps a lot. not just here on the podcast, but all my broadcasts. And I've been talking the last couple of weeks about how the Patreon support of this program is what has made it possible for me to construct a studio here at home where I can broadcast the morning radio show from home. And that has saved my life, guys. I got to tell you, it has saved my life. And I was asking Kathy the other day, Thursday or Friday, I was like frantically busy. And I said, how was I doing this when I had to spend 2.5, 3 hours on the road each morning to and from the radio station? She says you weren't. You were going to collapse, you know. So thank you, Patreons. Your support has definitely played a big part in saving my life. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. Patreon supporters, you have access to commercial-free editions of each and every episode. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters, and we're welcoming some new top Patreon supporters to the program today as well. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, John S., Frank, Dale, David, Laura B., Rob L., and SF Jr. Thank you all. Those are our top Patreon supporters. Again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. What if the news didn't just tell you the story, but made you live it? Author Emily Tiffany Joy takes you inside a near-future society where the line between fact and fiction disappears in Technesthesia, a new journalism, available on Amazon. In Technesthesia, enter a world where technology has rewritten human perception. Truth is no longer reported, it's experienced. In the future of journalism, memory, identity, and reality itself are no longer your own. If truth can be felt rather than proven, does it still matter if it's real? Technesthesia is a mind-bending, thought-provoking journey into the next evolution of media. Author Emily Tiffany Joy is a philosopher and founder of the Center for Non-Adversarial Knowledge Structuring. It's a groundbreaking initiative that's dedicated to ethical innovation, responsible artificial intelligence frameworks, and much more. The future isn't coming, it's already here. Order your copy right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Technesthesia from author Emily Tiffany Joy. If you're a homeowner or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Laporta Roofing has been in the roofing and construction business since 1984, with thousands of roof installations and thousands of satisfied customers. Did you know that in the state of Florida, you can open a roofing company and borrow someone else's license? Tom Laporta is the holder of his roofing and general contractor's licenses, not like the other companies that borrow other people's licenses. So be sure who you're dealing with. Tom Laporta and his team are honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Roofing carries all insurance, including workers' compensation on all of its employees, not just a waiver like other contractors. Laporta Roofing can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing, HOAs, condominiums, and churches. If it's roofing, Laporta Roofing can do it. So call Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, or connect online at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602. Laporta Roofing, the go-to roofing company you can trust.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication. There's no no surgery. There's none of that. It's strictly either the laser or the acupuncture I do or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and I'll be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Okay, now I want to get into what's going on with Jasmine Crockett. And I'll play you some of the audio in question. And she very well could find herself removed from the House of Representatives. And she did something today that shows she's worried. You know, Democrats are very accustomed to being able to do whatever they want, when they want to do it, and have zero accountability. They're totally fearless, no accountability. They think they can just do whatever it is that they want to do. And you know, when it comes to freedom of speech, I'm a strong supporter of freedom of speech, man. I mean, I make my living speaking. However, you cannot incite violence. And right now, there are liberal domestic terrorists running around our country, causing all kinds of mayhem. And when that's happening, these radical lunatics in the Democrat Party need to have the good sense to cool it off, but they don't. And I was talking on the morning show today, so if you missed that, you can go and get a very detailed breakdown of this. But this violence that's going on around the country at the Tesla dealerships, the attacks on the Tesla dealerships, the lawfare from these corrupt judges that are trying to stop the deportations. They're not, but they're trying to stop them and all of this. This is an organized effort by the left. All of this, very well organized. And Jasmine Crockett is out there. Now, this is Jasmine Crockett talking about sitting United States Senator Ted Cruz.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like at all. Like you go clean off on him, right?
Wow. You know, and this kind of rhetoric's been going on for years by the Democrats. And not only is it out of control right now, there's about to be some accountability. Now, here's Jasmine Crockett talking about Elon Musk. And remember, this is this month, and this is current. Her birthday, Jasmine Crockett's birthday, is March 29th. And she has a birthday wish. And she let her supporters out. Oh, and by the way, she's from Texas. Ted Cruz is her senator. Think about that. She has a birthday wish, Jasmine Crockett, and she made her wish known to the lefty lunatics that listen to her. Listen.
I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes. I'll make sure.
Now, keep in mind, they're firebombing Tesla dealerships. They're vandalizing Teslas. Nationwide, this is happening. And she's calling on people to do more and do it for her birthday. Her birthday's coming up, in just a few days. And she wants you to do it before her birthday as her birthday gift. That you're doing something for her. I mean, this is insane. And as a liberal Democrat woman, she is not accustomed to any accountability whatsoever. Because Democrats are never held accountable for anything that they do or anything they say. Well, Pam Bondi was on Fox over the weekend, the Attorney General of the United States, who's doing a great job. And she commented on Jasmine.
Now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. Yet she turns and says, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of all of the Tesla owners throughout this country. And it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
Now, don't you like, I've never heard this before. This is amazing from any attorney general. And this is something you might expect from Homeland Security. But Pam Bondi, commenting on what Jasmine Crockett is saying, used the term domestic terrorist. So she is, in effect, calling Jasmine Crockett a domestic terrorist. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you know, a lot of Republicans like to say, oh, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. A lot is happening. In fact, Jasmine Crockett is terrified that something is going to happen. Listen.
Just in case the slow people listening decide to clip this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever. Yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
Okay, now that's half of a walk back, but Jasmine Crockett there is most definitely trying to walk back what she said about Ted Cruz and Elon. And if you watched the cabinet meeting today, several members of the cabinet were thanking and praising Elon. And I know, a lot of the leftists, what they're saying is, oh, they're sucking up because he's so tight with Trump or he's the real president. See proof. They're saying, no, they see they agree and support what he's doing, which is showing exposing all this government waste. You guys know that. I don't have to go through the examples. We're all watching it. And that's wonderful. And they see the sacrifice that Elon Musk is dealing with over all of this. He is truly sacrificing a lot for this financially. His company's at risk. I don't know what the breakdown is because this data I don't think is available. But I think it's fair to say that if you did a political breakdown of Tesla owners nationwide, at least 95% of Tesla owners have to be Democrat. And I would say probably even higher. I know two people that own Teslas that are MAGA people. Okay. One is my brother-in-law who drives over 100 miles each way to work. And he got a Tesla and he's a big shot at his company. So they gave him his own charger at the office. Can you believe that? It's amazing. But and then there's a husband and wife that I know that are MAGA that own a Tesla. But everyone else that I've ever heard of or known of that's owned a Tesla is a liberal. And when I visit my daughter in Los Angeles, I've never seen so many Teslas out there, and it's really insane because I don't even know how people tell which car is theirs in the parking lots because they're all Teslas. And when we go to the airport, if you don't have an EV, you've got to park like a mile away from the terminal because they're all, designated. You go to a regular store in California and there's EV parking everywhere. It's like handicap, So I would imagine 95, maybe 98% of Teslas in America are probably owned by leftist. The change may have been with the Cybertruck because that's kind of a cool thing a lot of people have. So I don't know if the Cybertruck owners would be the same breakdown, but certainly with the cars, it would have to be. And I was looking over the weekend at maybe getting a Tesla, right? And because which I'm not going to do, by the way, because I want to support Elon. And the cost is it's astronomical. You got to get the charging station at home. You got to pay extra for that. Then you got to hire an electrician to do it. And then the electrical cost on top of the cost of the vehicle. So it's just not economically viable. If I was driving to the radio station every day, like I was doing it, I don't even think then it would be viable or save me money, but it's just too much money. Maybe if we hadn't bought our new car a few months back, maybe I would have. I don't know. But what are these leftists going to do with their Teslas? And I've noticed online, because I was watching some videos about Teslas on YouTube. And you know how you watch something and then all of a sudden you're getting recommended all these things? I started getting Tesla videos recommended to me, and I noticed there were a ton of new videos on YouTube about not buying used Teslas, not EVs, Teslas. A lot of videos like that, because a lot of these leftist Tesla owners want to, you hear some of them, they want to sell their Teslas for whatever reason, right? Because they don't want to drive a Nazi's car, or the space Nazi's car and all this. But buying a used Tesla is not a good idea for a lot of reasons, including the battery replacement cost on EVs. So they're stuck. Okay. They're stuck with their cars. There's too many of them who want to unload them now. There's not a market for them. And the word out, and it's growing every day, is don't buy a used EV at all, especially a Tesla. So they're going to be stuck with them. But the support from the cabinet today for Elon Musk is out of respect for him, of the great work that he's doing, the financial sacrifices that he's making, and also the personal sacrifices, because he is hated more than even Trump by the leftist these days.
Treat yourself to the ultimate indulgence with Rocher Milk Bath Company. Their luxurious bath and body products are designed for individuals of all ages, including those with sensitive skin. They're perfect for your self-care routine, and they make a great gift for birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, or any holiday throughout the year. When you visit the store online at RocherMilkBath.com, explore their signature line of milk baths that include the coconut milk bath, the lavender milk bath, the oatmeal milk bath, the decadent strawberry champagne milk bath, and that's just the beginning of their incredible collection. Milk baths have been treasured for centuries. Even Cleopatra was said to bathe in milk and honey for her radiant complexion. The secret to milk baths lies in the gentle exfoliation and silky softness provided by the natural lactic acid found in milk. Rocher Milk Bath Company believe your skin deserves the very best. So indulge in a soothing escape that will leave your skin feeling soft, smooth, and absolutely glowing. Visit the store right now at RocherMilkBath.com. That's ROCHE Milkbath.com. Luxury isn't just a treat, it's a way of life. RocherMilkBath.com. Television just got interesting again with a series like no other, Depth Nomads. Depth Nomads is an adventure, but it's also a journey into the unknown, both out in the world and within ourselves. In each episode, real people with unresolved emotions, past struggles, or hidden fears are dropped into wild, unfamiliar environments. There's no script and there's no formula as they face physical challenges, deep introspection, and human connection. And in the process, real, raw, life-changing transformation. Depth Nomads is about breaking the limits, facing your fears, and discovering who you truly are. Through freediving, breathtaking adventures, and powerful storytelling, Depth Nomads proves that nature has a way of stripping away the noise and revealing what truly matters. Transformation doesn't wait for the right moment. It happens when you take the leap. To learn more, visit DepthNomads.com. Depth Nomads, the television series of a lifetime. Can words truly mend a broken heart and bring hope in the darkest moments? From war veteran and author Edgar Dixon Rodriguez comes his deeply personal journey of love, faith, and resilience in his book, Letters That Give You Goosebumps, available on Amazon. Through handwritten letters, author Edgar Dixon Rodriguez discovered a lifeline in the chaos of war, proving that even in the darkest times, words can heal, unite, and even inspire. This must-read and powerful memoir reveals the transformative power of letters in healing trauma, a love story that defied all odds through words of hope, and how simple acts of kindness can change lives forever. What makes this book unique is that it features heartfelt letters, authentic images, a historic journal, captivating videos, and an original soundtrack. It delivers a truly multi-sensory, immersive, and unforgettable experience. This book also makes a great addition to your book club. What if the letters you wrote could not only save yourself, but also someone else? Experience the power of words and order your copy of Letters That Give You Goosebumps, a memoir of love, faith, and healing from author Edgar Dixon Rodriguez, available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. You can also learn more on the author's website, projectpluspr.com/books. Letters That Give You Goosebumps, a memoir of love, faith, and healing from author Edgar Dixon Rodriguez on Amazon.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lynn from Boynton. I just received my 7th and 8th set of Mike Lindell sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves it. Oh, my God. And especially with the cold days and nights we've been having the last few months in Florida. I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I have the flannels, too. You're like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So perfect. The guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them, I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're probably going to be on the next My Pillow commercial, just so you know, okay?
Okay.
Okay, just to let you know.
You heard Lynn from Boynton. She loves her My Pillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at mypillow.com. Now, Christy Nome in the cabinet meeting, she said she's going to go to that prison in El Salvador and do a visit where they're sending these prisoners. And I'm looking forward to that. And I hope she's got the cameras with her and we get to see that live too. But earlier today, Governor Hochul of New York came out and said this.
We're not going to allow this mass deportation. Where we will cooperate, and I did this even under the Biden administration. If you have a warrant, or you know someone's on a terrorism watch list or committing crimes in their home country or committing crimes here, that's a different category. And I will help you with those to protect everyone, whether they're newly arriving New Yorkers or whether they've lived here their entire lives. So that's real clear to me. But don't bleed over into going to schools and sensitive places. So our state policy, our state law does not allow for our state police to be involved in those situations. Now, what we have are some renegade counties in New York, because individual counties can sign a pact with ICE. And we have a lot of them, some on Long Island, some in upstate New York, where there's different political views. They are cooperating with their local police departments. But what I control is the state police, and they will not cooperate in that. We're not.
Okay. Now, this is very strange to me. And I don't understand how this is even legal. Okay. So Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, she's announcing that she's going to work against any deportations and not cooperate. How can you have a state police force. How can you have a state police force and order the police not to enforce crimes and cooperate with the feds in bringing federal fugitives from justice to justice? How can you do that? Can the governor give a lawful order like that? Remember, Nuremberg trials. When you're given an unlawful order, you're not obliged. You do not follow unlawful orders. And, the example I give is to take it out of the politics. Okay, take it out of the politics and take it into something that everybody will, even the Democrats would be against: bank robbery. Right? Bank robbery is a federal crime. So it is. So if Kathy Hochul said, I am ordering our state police in the state of New York not to cooperate with federal authorities who are coming into the state of New York and arresting bank robbers. Could you do that? Could you obstruct the arresting of bank robbers or kidnappers, federal crime, cross state lines and all that kidnapping? Can you do that? I don't think you can. So, Democrats are so used to being lawless and making up their own rules and not following the laws that people like Kathy Hochul don't even understand what it is that they're doing. So I don't think she realizes what she's doing is illegal. They can virtue signal all day that they're a sanctuary for the federal criminals of the illegal aliens. But if they were saying that they were we're a sanctuary city for bank robbers, sex offenders, nobody would support that, would they? No, of course not. Now, this was a bizarre thing that happened with this Jonathan Karl interview. He's a real beaut, Karl. On ABC News with Bernie Sanders, where Bernie Sanders got up and walked out. Listen.
She inspires young people all over the country.
By the way, he's talking about AOC, Bernie, in this clip.
She inspires young people all over the country.
Would you like to see her joining the Senate?
Right now, we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense? Do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this.
Wow, what's that about? That's a very interesting thing because there's no doubt that they're making a move to push out Schumer and plug in AOC in that Senate seat. They want her in that Senate seat like no one's business. Okay. They think she's the future. I think I was talking about this on the last podcast. I think it was the last podcast episode. I talk so much between the podcast, YouTube, radio. I lose track of what I said where. All right, guys. Okay. But now this is at this moment. This could change in 5 minutes if something happens because the Democrats are the minds. But I think right now what the DNC's plan is to have Gavin Newsom run for president with AOC as his running mate. They'd like to get her in the Senate so they can elevate her a little bit before that happens. And obviously, Schumer and his crew have made a move against that, and Bernie is afraid to weigh in on it. He doesn't want to alienate. He doesn't want to take a side. He doesn't want to alienate AOC and her loons, and he doesn't want to alienate Schumer and his posse. That's why he walked out of that interview. It was really a softball question because he didn't ask him, well, do you think she should replace Schumer? What do you think about her being in the Senate? And he couldn't even, boom, he's out of there. Now, this is, how the left have destroyed our country in so many ways, but they've done a lot of destruction in their own communities. Right now, we've been talking a lot in the last few days about how when they attack Teslas, they're attacking their own people because most are driven by Democrats, right? Hollywood has been just totally gutted by the left. And I've heard many people, Harrison Ford, I heard talk about this to Conan O'Brien a few months ago, and I've heard others say that there's virtually no production that's done in Hollywood anymore. Game shows and talk shows, that's it. And I'm a fan of Severance. I don't know if any of you guys watch Severance on Apple TV. They just had the season 2 finale, and I'm just like amazed at that show. The first season I got through it was a chore. And then the second season started, and in the first episode or two, something clicked. I understood what was going on, and I went back and rewatched the entire first season. They just had the season finale the other day. So anyway, this is a clip from Rob Lowe's podcast. Rob Lowe has a podcast. Conan O'Brien has a bunch of celebrities that do podcast under his Team Coco company. Rob Lowe, Ted Danson, and of course, and Conan. And Rob Lowe, I do listen. I don't listen to Conan too much. I was until it got into I was listening to him do celebrity interviews, and then he started having celebrities talking about the election during the election, and they're all he and his celebrity friends are just vile liberal jerks, so I stopped listening. But I do on occasion listen to Rob Lowe's podcast if he has a celebrity I'm interested in. And he had on the star of Severance. I can't remember his first name, something Scott, the main guy from Severance. And Rob Lowe and him are talking, and they're talking about the exodus from Hollywood. Listen, this is the star of Severance. I forgot his first name, something Scott, with Rob Lowe.
It's interesting that you shoot the floor there. It's cheaper to bring 100 American people. Wow.
Okay, now Rob Lowe has a game show called The Floor, and it's not filmed in the United States. And these two were on The Office together.
It's interesting that you shoot the floor there. It's cheaper to bring 100 American people to Ireland than to walk across the lot at Fox, past the sound stages and do it there.
Wow. So I didn't know this. His game show, The Floor, I've not watched it. I've seen some ads for it online. They have 100 American production people and Rob Lowe go to Ireland to film The Floor. And what he says, it's cheaper to do that. I mean, they got to fly them there. They got to put them up than it is to do the production on the same lot here across the hall, or across the street at the lot in Hollywood. That's how out of control the Democrats have gotten with their unions. This is one of the reasons so much production has moved to other countries around the world, because of the unions. The reason Hollywood is flying Rob Lowe and 100 Americans to film a game show that no one's watching in Ireland And it's cheaper to do that. And from Hollywood to Ireland, I don't know how many thousands of miles that is, but that's a pretty big chunk of the world you got to go over to get there. Whole continent, Atlantic Ocean. And that's the unions driving, not just manufacturing, but work overseas.
It's interesting that you shoot the floor there. It's cheaper to bring 100 American people to Ireland than to walk across the lot at Fox. Right. Past the sound stages and do it there. Crazy. Do you think if we shot Parks right now, we would be in Budapest? 100% we would be. We'd be in Budapest. We would be. It's so weird. There's nothing shoots in Los Angeles. Nothing. I had my next show already done, scripts, deals closed. Yeah. And they said, we're shooting this in New York. And I said, I'm not moving to New York to do this. Yeah. And then it went away. The show's done. I'm not doing it. Wow.
Now, I don't know why Rob Lowe can go to Ireland, but not New York.
It's like, no shit. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's just too expensive to shoot here. There are no tax credits. Mm-hmm. So all those other places are offering 40%. Yeah. 40%. Oh, yeah. And then on top of that, there's other stuff that they do. Yeah. And then that's not even talking about the union stuff. Mm-hmm. That's just tax economics of it all. So it's criminal what the California and LA have let happen. It's criminal. Everybody should be fired. It's a bummer. We have.
You hear that? No, he's calling for the entire government of California to be fired, that all of show business is left. And because of the taxes and all these tax credits they get to film elsewhere, Ireland, New York, Florida.
So it's criminal what the California and LA have let happen. It's criminal. Everybody should be fired. It's a bummer. We have our office on Radford lot where we used to shoot Parks.
Yes.
And it is quiet over there. Quiet. That place, when we were shooting our show.
Bustling.
Oh my God. Every stage was filled and working, and it's really weird.
Super, super weird. I love that little lot.
Me too.
Okay, so that tells you, I wonder if Rob Lowe's a Republican now. I know when he was younger, he was a Democrat. Okay, but I wonder if he's a Republican now. He used to date Melissa Gilbert, and she's a Republican. I don't know. Has he grown into being a Republican? If not, the Democrats are in a lot of trouble when Democrats are waking up and saying, hey, look at what Democrats are doing. They're pushing our industry. And it's so typical, of people. A lot of liberals don't mind certain things because it doesn't affect them. But then all of a sudden it does affect them and they become conservatives all of a sudden. Now, you may have seen this story that J.D. Vance's wife is going to Greenland, and President Trump said Marco Rubio is going too. And I don't know if the second lady is going with Marco Rubio or on the same trip. Are they separate trips? But I was watching the president. He is very serious about acquiring Greenland. And I think that's amazing. That's amazing for all the reasons. I don't have to tell you because we've been talking about Greenland a lot in the last 8 weeks. For a new territory to come into the United States like that is a long process. And I'm going to throw this out to you guys. And I'm wondering, is this a multi-term process that Trump is setting up with J.D. Vance? What I mean by that, it's a little unusual for such a big deal to be made about the wife of the vice president going somewhere like this. So I'm wondering if President Trump is putting everything in motion because he knows it's a multi-year process. It's been a long time since a new territory has joined the United States, especially like this, right? I mean, we got Puerto Rico and Guam and stuff, but that was all from the Spanish-American War. We took it from Spain, and that was in 1898. Okay, so when is the last time, other than that, in the Spanish-American War, that we acquired new territory? I'm not talking about Alaska and Hawaii becoming states. They were already territories. I'm talking about the last time a new territory volunteered to become part of the United States. And this one's a beautiful thing because it will be voted on by the people of Greenland who are Indians, Inuit, like Eskimos, Inuit Indians. So the actual native people, not the European Denmark people, Dutch, it would be Inuit Indians would be making the decision in a vote as to whether or not they'd come to the United States. But I was wondering this. because it's such a process, one that hasn't happened in so long. And is the second lady going there with the expectation, and JD was talking about Greenland today in the cabinet meeting to the president, is this something that they're kind of like foreshadowing and setting up for this to be finalized in JD's term when he becomes the second MAGA president, since Trump only has this last term left? I don't know, but it is a real thing. When President Trump first started talking about Greenland, I didn't realize how serious he was about it. He is as serious as a heart attack. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk.